Valentinus, Christian mystic and teacher. Valentinus was a 2nd century Christian mystic and poet whose teachings emphasized mystical knowledge, gnosis. He is often labeled a Gnostic due to the central role that gnosis played in his theological framework, but his beliefs were deeply rooted in early Christian traditions. Born around 100 AD in Phrebonis, a town in Upper Egypt, Valentinus received his education in nearby Alexandria. This city, known for its vibrant intellectual and religious discourse, shaped his theological outlook. In Alexandria, Valentinus became a disciple of Theudas, a Christian teacher who had himself studied under the Apostle Paul. Valentinus claimed that Theudas had transmitted to him secret wisdom that Paul had reserved for his closest disciples. This esoteric knowledge became a foundation of Valentinus's own teachings. Like many early Christian mystics, he reported having a vision of the risen Christ. Following this profound experience, he began his career as a Christian teacher in Alexandria around 120 AD. His theological insights quickly gained attention, and he attracted a devoted following in both Egypt and Syria. Around 136 AD, Valentinus left Alexandria and traveled to Rome, making a brief stop in Cyprus along the way. Upon arriving in Rome, he gained a reputation for his eloquence and depth of knowledge. His ability to express complex theological ideas in poetic and philosophical terms won him great respect within the Roman Christian community. By 143 AD, he had become such an influential figure that he was considered a leading candidate for the office of bishop. However, it is uncertain whether he declined the position himself or was ultimately passed over. Regardless, he continued to teach in Rome for at least another decade, further developing his theological system. The later years of Valentinus' life remain uncertain. Some sources suggest that he remained in Rome until his death around 155 AD, while others claim that he left the city after failing to attain the bishopric, retreating to Cyprus. His teachings, however, did not fade with his passing. His disciples continued to develop and spread his ideas throughout the Roman Empire, creating a distinct school of thought known as Valentinianism. The teachings of Valentinus. Valentinian theology is deeply esoteric and poetic, drawing from both Christian and philosophical traditions. At the heart of his teachings was the concept of bythos, depth, the ultimate, unknowable God. From bythos emanated a series of divine beings called aeons, representing aspects of the divine mind. These aeons formed the Pleroma, the fullness of divine existence. However, a cosmic mishap occurred when one of the aeons, often identified as Sophia, wisdom, acted outside the harmonious order, leading to the creation of the material world. Unlike other Gnostic sects that depicted the creator of the physical realm as an entirely malevolent being, Valentinus's teachings suggested that the demiurge, the craftsman of the material world, was an ignorant but not entirely evil entity, acting as a distant image of the true God. Humanity, according to Valentinian thought, was composed of 3 distinct groups. 1. The spiritual, pneumatic. Those who possessed divine knowledge, gnosis, and were destined to return to the divine realm. 2. The psychic, soulish. Ordinary Christians who lived moral lives and would be rewarded in a lesser heavenly state. 3. The material, hylic. Those entirely bound to the physical world, who would ultimately perish. Valentinus and his followers maintained Christian rituals, including baptism, but also practiced a unique rite known as the mystery of the bedchamber. This ritual symbolized a spiritual union rather than a literal marriage, emphasizing the believer's restoration to divine wholeness. Unlike some other early Christian sects, the Valentinians sought to remain within the broader Christian community rather than separate themselves entirely. Legacy of Valentinus. Valentinianism remained influential for several centuries, drawing both admiration and opposition from church leaders. The discovery of the Nag Hammadi texts in 1945 renewed scholarly interest in Valentinus, as many of these writings reflected his theological perspective. Though eventually labeled as heretical by later church authorities, Valentinus' legacy endures as one of the most sophisticated and poetic expressions of early Christian mysticism.